All right, let's keep this conversation going and welcome an RNC senior advisor, Danielle Alvarez, and host of the Tudor Dixon podcast. Tudor Dixon, great to have you both with us today. We just heard from the Majority Whip right there, Congressman Tom Emmer, and House Republicans plan to vote today on a temporary funding bill, but Democrats refusing to budge. Seems like they want to shut down the government. Danielle, what do you make of what we're seeing play out there?
Of course, Democrats want to shut down the government. Their only play in their playbook is to oppose President Trump, is to oppose the mandate that Republicans received by the American people last November. Shame on them. We should not be looking towards a government shutdown. And I certainly hope that our Republicans will come together and will fight for President Trump's agenda as we head into these very critical midterms. I am very encouraged. I think that they will band together and they will come up with a solution.
Yeah, Tudor, I mean, we're just 2 weeks away from the shutdown deadline, and it seems like the Democrat priority, Jimmy Kimmel. Take a listen.
Frankly, it should shake every American that the President of the United States is out there firing comedians who make fun of him. That is not who we are, and every American should care and stand up to this.
What Brendan Carr is doing is despicable. What he did to Jimmy Kimmel, he is doing to person after person, network after network, intimidating them and threatening them. He is one of the greatest threats to free speech America has ever seen.
I recall Chuck Schumer in 2023 calling for Tucker Carlson to be fired. So, double standards for Democrats, Tudor.
Well, and I think the only people really threatening ABC right now are those two, because they have clearly stated, and their advertisers have clearly stated, that they were pulling out of Jimmy Kimmel's show because he was so bad at what he did. His ratings had plummeted. He was no good, and it was a business decision. And the fact of the matter is, we all know that being on TV is a privilege, and when you are bad at your job, you get fired. That wasn't a decision by the president. That was a decision by a private company that wants to actually make a profit. And so if we have congressmen and senators out there who think it's their job to threaten ABC into making a bad product, well, we saw what that did with EVs, and I think that private corporations are done with government telling them what to do.
Yeah, well said. And as Mark mentioned, the hypocrisy of all of this, especially from the legacy media, too, who seem to be outraged over free speech, including MSNBC's Chris Hayes. Back in 2023, he had no problem then with calling for censorship, calling on Tucker Carlson to be fired. Take a listen to this.
ABC made the announcement Kimmel would indeed be taken off the air indefinitely. And this is just the latest chapter in Donald Trump's ongoing campaign to crack down on free speech, dominate the media, and essentially render the First Amendment meaningless. Cable news host Tucker Carlson, just fired from his third network, he believed he could say anything, no matter how vile, no matter how disgusting, no matter how offensive, no matter how dehumanizing or belittling. And if you act like a sociopath over and over and over and over, you will become unpopular on the national stage.
His words, not mine. Danielle, what do you make of that?
Democrats need to stop embarrassing themselves, and we need to be real about the changing media landscape that is currently playing out. It costs millions and millions of dollars to put Jimmy Kimmel on air, and he maybe gets 1 to 2 million viewers a night. There are conservative podcasters that get 10 to 20 million viewers per episode, and it doesn't cost nearly that amount to produce those shows. The media landscape is changing. Nobody is interested in watching Jimmy Kimmel, despite it being piped into our homes through network television. This was a very cut and dry business decision, and we shouldn't detract from the reality that Charlie Kirk lost his life for free speech, for what he said. That is the real tragedy here, and we have to focus on what is important, and that is honoring the legacy of Charlie Kirk as we head into the incredible memorial that they have planned to honor his life and legacy this weekend.
I'm so glad you brought up Charlie Kirk and the memorial that will be taking place, Tudor. That's where I want to go next, because this is going to be a massive memorial service. We know the stadium can hold 63,000 people sitting. Another 10,000 more can stand. They're already planning for people to be outside as well, watching it there, too. We know that Erica will speak as well. She's the new CEO and chair of the board. We know the president of the United States will speak. We know the vice president will speak. What are you expecting from this memorial on Sunday, Tudor? What do you hope to see?
I know this will be a huge celebration for the people who love Charlie. It'll be a huge celebration for what we were just talking about, free speech, and the people who stand for free speech. It's such an important message to get out to people. Don't be afraid. Continue to go out there. Continue to fight for our cause. But I think it's also going to be very faith-led. And that, to me, is the most exciting part about what we will see this Sunday, is that we will see so many people come together and realize that Jesus is the truth and the light. Jesus is the way. And I know that Erica Kirk will be up there talking about her love for her husband, but also her knowledge that he is in the most beautiful place with our most beautiful Savior. And that could lead so many more people to Christ. And that's what I hope to see come out of this.
And Newsmax's coverage of that service will start at 2 o'clock on Sunday. Before we go, Danielle, I got to ask you about this. New excerpt from Kamala Harris's book coming out next week, revealing that her first choice for vice presidential running mate was Pete Buttigieg. But ultimately, she went with Tim Walz because a ticket of a black woman and a gay man would be too big of a risk. Buttigieg responding, saying he was surprised to read it. They had never talked about it. So let me get this straight. They accuse conservatives of being homophobic. Then she refuses to pick her preferred running mate because of his sexual preference. Isn't that homophobic?
The reality is that Kamala Harris was the biggest risk because she was incapable of holding the highest office in the land. I mean, thank God that Americans delivered a landslide victory for President Trump. She would have been a disaster in dealing with all of the historic events that have come before President Trump that he has handled so well in leading our country back to greatness. I can't imagine a world where Kamala Harris is at the helm. I am so glad she is back home in California.
Absolutely. Stay there. All right, Tudor, Danielle, have a great weekend, guys.
Thanks, guys.